Monoxide tragedy where one person died and 5 others are hospitalized.
And 2 women say they were raped after a night out at Nikki Beach. Now the search is on for the men they say drugged them.
Live, the one and only Local 10 News starts right now.
Good Tuesday morning, South Florida, April the 14th. I'm Eric Yutzi.
And I'm Constance Jones, and for JC Birch, our Weather Authority meteorologist, Julie Durda is here with a look at our forecast.
Hey, good morning, you two, and hello, South Florida. On this Tuesday, not much of a change. Yep, we're waking up warm and humid. No surprise with our southeast breeze in place. Still breezy out there over parts of South Florida, and we are expecting that breeze to continue to bring us a slight chance of a shower in the forecast throughout the morning. A mix of sun and clouds around 6 o'clock. We will see temperatures in the upper 70s throughout the morning with that slight chance of a shower hanging on until this afternoon. You'll notice the rain chances start to taper off for lunchtime. We are expecting a mix of sun and clouds with temperatures in the mid 80s by lunchtime, and then eventually we will see us warming up once again to the upper 80s across parts of South Florida. Yesterday we hit a high of 86 degrees, but it felt more like 90. We're going to do that again today. As we talk about temperatures across the area, we've got 78 Pembroke Pines, Kendall, as well as Homestead, 79 for you Marathon. Winds out of the east-southeast, bringing us some moisture over parts of Homestead this morning. Otherwise, we are dry. I'll have more coming up.
That is why tonight, grounded by the lessons of our history, but inspired by the promise of our future, I announce my candidacy for President of the United States.
That is Senator Marco Rubio announcing his run for the White House, telling a crowd he thinks the 21st century can be what he calls a new American century.
Yeah, the junior senator says that he can move the country into the future and out of the past. Our senior political reporter Michael Putney was there for the big announcement and reports from downtown Miami this morning.
It was Marco Rubio's big moment, and he seized it.
Well, now the time has come for our generation to lead the way towards a new American century.
The 43-year-old senator is calling for a generational change at the White House, not recycling old names from the past, like Bush or Clinton.
Just yesterday, a leader from yesterday began a campaign for president by promising to take us back to yesterday. Yesterday is over.
Rubio laid out a conservative plan to move the country forward, repeal Obamacare, revise the tax code, pro-school choice, pro-life, and pro-Israel.
And if America once again accepts the mantle of global leadership. Yes! By abandoning this administration's dangerous concessions to Iran and its hostility to Israel.
A noisy group of immigration reform advocates tried to disrupt those watching on a jumbotron outside, but this was a pro-Rubio crowd.
Great thoughts and ideas for something new, not something from yesterday.
2016 is the first time that I'm going to be able to vote, so I'm really excited about that, actually.
The policy regarding the administration with Iran and mainly with Cuba. Right. That's my main concern.
I honestly believe, Michael, that this country needs him. I think he's the candidate of the future.
Norman Brayman is so committed to the Rubio candidacy that he has reportedly promised up to $10 million for Rubio's campaign. In Miami, Michael Putney, Local 10 News.
6 people were killed, or poisoned rather, by carbon monoxide at a Wilton Manors townhome, and 1 person was killed. Now at the scene, police found a car running inside the garage. Janine Stanwood is at Broward Health in Fort Lauderdale, where those surviving victims are recovering.
I don't know, it's shocking.
It was alert neighbors who knew something wasn't right.
They saw the garage door open and went in to check and see if they were all right, and found the father.
The garage door at 2259 Northeast 9th Avenue was left open, and when those neighbors went inside to investigate, they found an SUV running, and inside the house, Louis Agro dead on the floor, apparently due to carbon monoxide poisoning. They tried CPR and called 911.
Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue came to the home, and upon doing a search of the home, found 2 additional victims in the home.
Firefighters would find Louis's wife Regina and their 11-year-old daughter unconscious upstairs.
I looked on the floor, and there was a little girl lying there on the floor, and she wasn't moving.
And since they're townhomes, they went to the neighboring apartments and started searching for more victims in case the carbon monoxide had gone throughout those homes.
And it did seep through. Firefighters found 2 more victims next door and treated the neighbors who first ran in to help. They also discovered the agro's 2 dogs, deceased, and 2 cats who you can see they tried to revive. Only one would pull through. Neighbors who identified these pictures of Louis and Regina say they seemed like a happy couple and are hopeful mom and daughter pull through. The big question is why this happened.
We don't know how long the car was running, but carbon monoxide, it's a silent and deadly killer.
So you cannot see, you can't smell carbon monoxide, so firefighters say just buy one of these, a carbon monoxide detector. We bought one, it's about $20. You put the battery in to make sure that it works. You press it, you hear the little beep. Then it beeps 4 times. It'll then beep another 4 times so you know it's working. And that's all. Install it in your house. Detectives say this is such an inexpensive way to prevent a tragedy. At this point right now, the victims are still in the hospital. They are still in critical condition, and detectives are still investigating what happened. We're in Fort Lauderdale this morning. I'm Janine Stanwood, Local 10 News.
All right, thanks, Janine. Developing this morning, a threatening note found at Mast Academy prompting an investigation by Miami-Dade School Police. Now, here's a picture of the note found on a desk in a classroom. It was sent to us by a Local 10 viewer whose daughter actually attends the school. On it, it says, quote, on April 17th, 2015, I will walk into this school and shoot everyone I see. Now, Miami-Dade Schools released a statement saying in part, quote, since the safety of our students is of utmost importance, we take all threats seriously.
Investigators are working to identify the 4 people who are on board this plane right here that crashed in Fort Lauderdale on Sunday afternoon. Victor Oquendo at the scene where the plane went down. He has the story this morning.
This charred tail section of a small plane was the last piece of the wreckage removed from the site where a South Florida bound flight went down. The fiery scene about a quarter of a mile short of the runway at Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport. All 4 people on board died. The plane's wing sections, engines, propellers, all on a flatbed headed to a warehouse in Fort Pierce.
A majority of the wreckage is consumed by fire, but there's a lot of components that still remain, so we'll be able to get a lot of good information out of that.
Oh my God.
Seconds after impact, it was clear there was little anyone could do.
Fire was really, really intense, and screaming if everything was okay, is everybody okay? And realized I was too late. I couldn't get any closer to the plane.
Jean Deshomes was among several bystanders who ran over to the debris field.
And then you get to the point where you see what's happening and there's nothing that you can do.
We know the Piper PA-31 was built in 1979 and had recently been recertified. It left Orlando Sunday afternoon en route to Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport. About 2 miles from its destination, the pilot reported smoke in the cabin.
Why is this happening? It's just so unfortunate. My thoughts and prayers are with the family.
The NTSB has not told us who was on this plane, but we might find out at some point today. In the meantime, they will keep going through the wreckage to see if they can find out exactly what it is that happened here. We're in Fort Lauderdale. I'm Victor Oquendo, Local 10 News.
Well, the southbound lanes of I-95 at Ives Ferry Road were shut down yesterday after a rollover crash backed up traffic for miles. Now, FHP says 3 cars were involved in the accident shortly before 11 Monday morning. 1 person was ejected and airlifted to the hospital. We now know the victim in a tragedy at Disney World Park. The victim, Gary Terry from Kissimmee, was the driving instructor at the exotic car racing attraction where he died on Sunday. Terry was the passenger in the Lamborghini sports car when the driver lost control on the racetrack and crashed into a guardrail. The driver was treated for minor injuries.
A Pembroke Pines doctor out on bond this morning. He's accused of beating his girlfriend for a second time. Dr. Rafael Azule was in bond court Monday. He's facing a battery charge after he allegedly punched and kicked his girlfriend in the face and stomach. Azule is a practicing internist in Pembroke Pines. Firefighters taking on a townhouse fire in northwest Miami-Dade on Monday afternoon. Here's Sky 10 over the scene off 84th Place. You can see heavy black smoke coming out of that home. Fire officials say a dryer is what caused that fire.
The family family of a young South Florida woman killed in a boating accident will remember her in a memorial on Wednesday. Paloma de Macieres was spending Memorial Weekend with her family last year in the Bahamas when she was killed. The driver of that boat, George Prendes Jr., was allegedly drunk at the time of the crash. Her parents are heartbroken over her death.
She was someone that was always happy, always full of life. She had a lot of energy. She was a very loving and caring person.
Now, the young woman's parents says officials in the Bahamas are dragging their feet and prosecuting Prendes. They are suing him in federal court for wrongful death.
An Alaska Airlines plane turned around after takeoff when a pilot heard banging from beneath the aircraft. So what was first thought to be a stowaway actually turned out to be a ramp agent who was accidentally locked inside the front cargo hold. Now that area is pressurized. It is also temperature controlled, so the agent was okay. Although you can see right here, he was taken to the hospital as a precaution.
Well, one breaking her silence when a night out takes a turn.
Yeah, she says she and a friend were drugged and raped after meeting two men at a South Beach hotspot. That's coming up after the break.
And this morning, we are seeing that southeast breeze bring us some showers right over southern half of Miami-Dade, right near Homestead. Now, these showers will continue to lift from the southeast to the northwest. Will it affect your morning commute? I'll have that answer after the break.
Heading to work? Local 10 News live streaming right now on the Local 10 app and local10.com. Today starting at 4.
Coming up later today on Local 10 News.
Turn us on and get all the day's news. Sitting too much at work can actually cause health problems for adults.
But the solution takes just 30 seconds and you don't even have to leave your desk.
The heat is on, tracking soaring temperatures. The one and only Local 10 News when you get home this afternoon.
We're on from 4 to 6:30. Join us.
Good morning, 4:44 at the time. Miami Beach police are investigating the case of two women who say they were raped during a night out at a popular spot on South Beach.
Yeah, Local 10 News reporter Andrew Perez spoke with one of the victims and her husband about that night. He has the story from Miami Beach.
You know how you have your gut instinct? It's just like something in your gut where you know there's just something wrong. We knew the second that we were able to put our minds together and come to that something completely awful had happened.
This woman is breaking her silence and hoping to help others in the process, describing how she and her friend were drugged and then raped.
And I just remember being completely dazed and fogged and out of it, and just my mind trying to tell me, okay, you have to do X, Y, Z, but my body can't respond.
Miami Beach police are investigating the case. The woman and her friend, who was visiting from out of town, stopped for drinks at Nikki Beach. They say two men started chatting with them. Next thing she knows, she says she's waking up in a hotel room with those two men there.
The men were both naked, saying awful, awful things to the both of us. I woke up and I realized that I had no pants on and everything was off.
How could this happen? How could somebody do this to not only to my wife, but to her friend?
The victim's husband, who we're also not identifying, says he's afraid to let her go out alone ever again now. The women were allowed to leave, stumbled their way out. Now they're working with authorities to try and catch the men involved. Now, pay really close attention here. Police say the first meeting happened here, Nikki Beach, on March 29th. A description we have of one of those men. He was a tall male in his 30s, dark hair, brown eyes, has what's described as an Israeli accent, and said he was from Canada. Anyone with information is encouraged to call Miami Beach police right away. For now, reporting in Miami Beach, I'm Andrew Perez, Local 10 News.
The cleanup it continues this morning in a pair of tornado-ravaged towns in northern Illinois. Yesterday, residents in Fairdale and Rochelle sifted through what is left of their homes. Donations, they are pouring in for the victims. Utility companies hope to have service back on sometime today. More than 70 homes were damaged or destroyed. We hope that they get things back to normal as quickly as possible, Julie.
Yeah, that was a nasty storm last week. It is that time of year we talk about severe weather across the Midwest, Tornado Alley, and across the southern half of the United States. We do have a storm system setting up over the southeast, which I'll show you in just a minute. It's not really affecting our forecast as we have high pressure in place, providing for an east-southeast breeze. That high pressure is keeping us warm and humid. It is right now 78 degrees in Miami. We should be waking up to 68, so we're 10 degrees above where we should be this time of year. 79 in Marathon, 78 in Pembroke Pines, as well as Kendall. But you factor in the relative humidity to the air temperature. Check it out, my friends. Feels like temperatures well into the 80s already. 6:30 this morning, and it's not even 5 o'clock. Ugh. All right, the winds will continue off the ocean anywhere between 9 and 15 miles per hour this morning, making it feel very warm and humid. We're also noticing that east-southeast breeze bringing some cloud cover onshore, and it's also bringing us some precipitation. Not here over our Miami Tower Cam. You can see the Miami Tower Cam moving and shaking, though, because of how breezy it is out there. The winds moving off the ocean will continue throughout the afternoon. We'll see wind speeds anywhere between 10 to 15 miles per hour, and that's also going to keep that elevated risk of rip current for you beachgoers. Check out the showers right now. Just some light to moderate rain right over portions of southern Miami-Dade, headed towards US 1 and Homestead. There's one more shower I just noticed on the radar starting to develop just east and south of Boca Raton. If that holds, it could head westward and move in towards Pompano Beach. Otherwise, the concentrated shower and thunderstorm activity well to the north of us. You can see a line of storms over the western Atlantic, and even further north, we've got that front that you heard me mention. Now, we're not expecting severe weather with this system. What we're going to notice is the leading edge of the system bring a lot of rain over the mid-Atlantic states and all the way up towards the northeast. The other thing we're going to notice is the area of low pressure that's developing right over Texas. This will continue to bring that chance of showers and flooding over northern Texas and towards Louisiana. So that's where we're going to see the possibility of some strong storms today. I think we are going to see just heavy rain. Flooding is going to be a big possibility across the area. For us here in South Florida, beach forecast calls for that moderate risk of rip currents for you beachgoers. We do have no advisories for you boaters, as the bays will be at a moderate chop. If you do head to the beach or you work outdoors, remember, UV index is at an extreme. You could get sunburn within 15 minutes. Continue to put on that sunblock. So enjoy the day. It's not going to be a bad one. We will see just a slight chance of a shower in the forecast off the breeze later on today. This morning, a slight chance, though about 7 o'clock, and then sunrise will bring us bright sunshine through the afternoon. Highs today rapidly warming up to the upper 80s. We'll continue the warming trend as we go into the next few days with just a passing shower possible. Going into tomorrow, we will see a possibility of some showers, afternoon storms as the sea breeze does develop. Otherwise, pretty warm week ahead.
All right, Julie, thanks so much. Well, the launch of SpaceX rocket was canceled just a few minutes before launching yesterday. The next try will be this afternoon at 4:10. Now, storms near Cape Canaveral forced the cancellation of the scheduled flight. The Dragon spacecraft is packed with more than 2 tons of food, supplies, and space experiments for the International Space Station. Among the load, an espresso machine.
Got to take care of those astronauts. Yes, you do.
That's for sure. Well, a sting operation takes a tragic turn, and now an arrest has been made.
A volunteer reserve deputy pulling the trigger on his gun instead of his stun gun. And now that deputy is facing some serious charges. The details are coming up.
Sting operation going awry, leading to a deadly police shooting in Oklahoma. Now, charges have been filed against a volunteer reserve deputy. Now, take a look. You can see the suspect on this police video trying to sell a 9mm semi-automatic pistol and ammunition to an undercover officer. Now, moments after the alleged sale, the suspect runs from police. As they move in to make an arrest, one officer actually catches up to him and tackles him. And that's when the 73-year-old fires his gun instead of his taser.
Stomach. Now.
That's done to warn other law enforcement officers that you're about to deploy this device.
I'm sorry.
Now, in that video, you can hear him actually apologize, but despite the department's insistence that the shooting was a mistake, that reserve deputy has now been charged with second-degree manslaughter.
Jodi Arias will be spending the rest of her life behind bars. A judge sentencing Arias yesterday for the 2008 murder of her ex-boyfriend, Travis Alexander. Arias found guilty of first-degree murder in 2008. 2 juries were deadlocked on whether to sentence Arias to life in prison or to death. Before her sentencing, Arias telling the courtroom she was truly disgusted and repulsed with herself for what she did.
Well, good news. The Miami Heat's playoff chances are still alive.
Yeah, they are still alive. Well, they're alive mathematically, but it's going to take some work. In the Sports Wrap this morning, D-Wade delivering a message to Heat fans last night in their home finale. But what about the win? That's what Heat fans really wanted. The details next in Sports Wrap.
But first, here's a look at your winning lottery numbers. Local 10 News will be right back.
New
new era began tonight with a handshake between Presidents Barack Obama and Raul Castro.
History in the making.
History is made at the Summit of the Americas with Cuba here for the very first time.
And Local 10 News was there every step of the way.
The fight spills out into the street.
Kelvin Hughes, the only South Florida anchor covering the story.
There was a lot of hope and a lot of talk of history.
We are in the business of making sure that the Cuban people have freedom. And
when history is made, one station takes you there first. The one and only Local 10 News.
We want to thank you guys for y'all support through the highs, through the in-betweens, and especially the lows. We appreciate you guys, and we couldn't do anything without y'all.
As we begin our Local 10 Morning Sports Wrap, you heard the message from Dwayne Wade to the fans. Regular season home finale against the Magic. Hassan Whiteside gets the basket down low. Had his 22nd double-double. Heat needed this win to stay alive in the playoff race, albeit very, very slim hopes at the playoffs. Whiteside there is sixth block of the game. What a find he's been. Into the third quarter, Heat start to pull away a little bit here. Dwayne Wade, the layup and one. Magic made it close late, but the Heat do get step one of that process of trying to make the playoffs. They get a 193 win, but they still need a lot more help. They got some of it on Monday night because the Bulls beat the Brooklyn Nets. Pau Gasol down low with the dunk. He had 22 points. Bulls win 113-86. So as of this morning, Miami Heat still alive in the playoff race, though they need a lot of help, and they'll need to win tomorrow night in the regular season finale in Philadelphia. One quick check of the Dolphins. They added some depth to their secondary on Monday. They signed cornerback Zach Bowman, played last season with the Giants, also spent some time in the NFL with the Chicago Bears. I'm Will Manso, and that's your Local 10 Morning Sports Wrap.
All right, in Armenia, rapper Kanye West staged an impromptu concert that wrapped up in a visit in the country's capital. Now, West was actually visiting the country with his wife, Kim Kardashian, who has Armenian descent. Now, during the visit, it was actually the same time it collided with the 100-year anniversary of the mass killings of Armenians by Ottoman Turks. Now, at the end of the concert, West jumped into a pond and then was followed by excited fans. One person is dead, 5 others recovering in the hospital this morning following a carbon monoxide poisoning scare.
Ahead at 5 o'clock, a report on this silent killer and what caused the poisonous gas to leak. We'll be back in just 2 minutes.